TheAngryHoneyBadger.
Hey everyone, it is the Angry Honey Badger here, and it's time for another champion build video. Today we will be taking a look at Xin Zhao. So, kicking things off right at the start of this game, Tristana is gonna get caught out as we see her just dancing in mid lane. Yeah, we should let her dance, but we won't. Good hook from Blitzcrank, and our team will in fact get the first blood, which is fun. I got an assist, nothing crazy, but yeah. Catch people early game. It's really easy. A lot of people don't pay attention. So, but what we're going to do in this build today is obviously talk about his build itself and the items that we want to consider when we're playing him. Then we're also going to talk about his abilities, his pros and cons, and his runes and masteries. Let's start things off by talking about his runes and his masteries. For those runes, going to take attack damage, marks, armor seals, magic resist per level glyphs, and typically attack damage or movement speed quintessences for good for ganking or good for damage. Xin Zhao does a lot of early damage, so having some early damage is pretty awesome, to be honest. Then when it comes to those masteries, down in the bottom right, you can check them out there. You can pause it if you want to see it longer. If not, check out the description. You can check out the runes and the masteries videos down below. Other than that, let's move forward on to the abilities. So, kicking things off with his passive, this is Challenge. Xin Zhao's basic attack, including those enhanced by 3 Talent Strike, and his charge will reduce the target's armor by 15% for 3 seconds, also meaning you have armor shred. So, it's very good to get some decent damage early on and kill them because you have armor pen. It's awesome. Super fun. It's good to have. Now, we started this game out with our Q ability, and let's talk about maxing for 2 different reasons for a second. So we started out with our Q for that gank because I wanted the knock-up. Obviously, the E would have been decent too, but that's not as good in the jungle early on your first clear. And then when it comes to maxing out, I think you have 2 main options. Typically, you're going to either max out your E or your Q. And I think this is kind of a personal preference. I like usually maxing out my Q. I know a lot of people like maxing out their E first. If you max out your E, you do get more initial damage, and you get a little bit more slow. The Q does still scale per hit, and with a little bit of damage, it does scale well. And the knock-up itself is great, and having it on a shorter cooldown, also not a terrible thing too. So, you have options. Both of those are fine. Basically, just don't max out your battle cry first, which is your W ability. But it really comes down, like I said, to personal preference. I'm never going to tell anybody the wrong way unless because if it works for you, good, go with it. So I max my Q out. It helps me murder through the jungle. Yeah, it's just fun. Anyways, that's what we're going to do. Lots of killing going on in this game. Going to let that happen in the background a little bit. Let's move on to our, let's just talk about our abilities. So we have our 3 Talent Strike. That's our Q. This is when you unleash a fearsome combo. Nailed it. Causing your next 3 standard attacks to deal bonus damage on his targets, and the final attack will knock his opponent up into the air. Each strike while active will reduce the cooldown of your other skills by 1 second. So we activate our other skills, slide in, and we start auto-attacking him with our 3 Talent Strike to reduce the cooldowns of our other abilities. It's pretty awesome. Also, when you max this out and you get this on a lower cooldown, that means it makes all of your other things come off a cooldown quicker too, which is good. We want that. Your battle cry is, of course, your W ability. Passively, you heal yourself every 3rd basic attack by a blank amount. It goes up as you put points into it. When you activate this, you are going to gain bonus attack speed for 5 seconds. This is good to use in the jungle to clear. And as the game goes on and as you rank this up, you'll deal more damage with more attack speed. So we're going to jump in here on Diana real quick, get the knock up, use the ult, just hit her one more time. She started dying quick because when you put lots of points into your Q, it's fun, it shreds through them, it's yay. And then you have your E ability, of course, which we talked about. This is your charge. You're going to charge towards your enemies. It's going to deal magic damage to any nearby enemies and slow them from anywhere from 25 to 45% for 2 seconds. Good stuff right there. And then your ultimate is your Crescent Sweep. You unleash a sweep around yourself, dealing damage, physical damage that is, to nearby enemies equal to the base amount plus 15% of their current health, and it will knock them back. Xin Zhao will also gain bonus armor and magic resist for 6 seconds for each enemy that you hit. If you challenge the target you've hit by a sweep, it is unaffected by the knockback. So the main target that you are focusing will not be knocked away. Really, this is to kind of focus one person, pinpoint them, and knock them all the others away. It's good for focusing down one target. Also good if you can get into a position to dive the back line, get to the target you want, and then sweep all of the other ones away. It's really good for separating them. So that's your ultimate. So now that we're done with our abilities, let's look at the build itself a little bit. We have built the first item being Stalkers, and we built that into Magus, I believe. Although, I'm going to be honest, I don't always remember all the names of those items because why would I? But that's one of the other things you can do. There's a couple actual really good jungle items for Xin Zhao. I really think this is, once again, a playstyle thing for each individual person who plays Xin Zhao. I think there's about, besides all the AP stuff and poachers, I think you can build almost any of the other combinations on Xin Zhao. It comes down to, like I said, personal preference. I think they're all good. I like this one because obviously we get that smite, slows them down. It just is easier for ganks. Really good. So that's what we're going to do here. Now, the next thing that we're doing when we're buying things early, I like to finish my boots off a little bit. Helps with the ganks. I went Merc treads. Either those or Ninja Tabbies are pretty good to have. Mobies can be good too on ganks as well. Like I said, I've talked about Mobies in previous videos when you would maybe purchase those, and like, again, comes down to a playstyle. And then we also early on like to focus a little bit of damage. We will eventually go pretty tanky, but early on his damage is really good, and he wants to get ahead early. Xin Zhao late game isn't bad by any means, but obviously getting ahead early is going to be a lot better for you. So we are going to be building that first part of our Blade of the Ruined King. This is kind of just awesome because A, it gives him a little bit more attack damage, it gives him more attack speed, and you do get the lifesteal. Lifesteal is really good. Also, unique passive, use that, slow them, steal that life back, really, really good, and percentage damage. So on top of all of your shred, you got percentage damage and lifesteal, and you have your lifesteal, obviously, from your passive on your battle cry. You're just a big vamping machine of fun and of armor pen and of percentage damage. It's just really good. You can get really far ahead early. You see how much those strikes hurt early on when you max with the Q. So picked up the kill on the Hecarim there, picked up an assist on the Sona, and just really good. Really good combo. So that's what we're going to finish out next, is the Blade of the Ruined King. So we'll have kind of our 3 core items early, if you count the boots as core, as an item. So we have our damage there really good going on. So that's what we're working towards. Now, let's transition for a second while we run around and murder more things. Let's talk a little bit about pros and cons. So some of the good pros about Xin Zhao is he's one of the better easy early gankers in the game. I've always recommended him for that exact reason too. If you don't know how to do awesome ganks, or you have problems with ganks, you just don't know when or how to gank, anytime the enemy is in the middle-ish of the lane or pushed any further forward, Xin Zhao can run in the lane. He has a really good gap closer with his charge, and it slows them, so you're automatically landing one form of crowd control on the enemy immediately. As you do this, though, you're going to obviously have activated your Battle Cry and your 3-Talon Strike. And while they're slowed for those 2 seconds, you can get 3 attacks off if they don't flash. They will get knocked up. Between the time you slow them with your charge and you knock them up with your 3-Talon Strike, right there early on in the game, you've probably half-lifed them. And it should be plenty of time for whoever the lane person that you're ganking for has closed in, dealt damage, and potentially landed some of their crowd control as well. It's a really easy way to pick up kills early on. You may have saw earlier on in the video, I did get sucked back into tower range by Diana. She did a good job there neutralizing my... I didn't get the kill, but my mid laner got the kill. She did a good job of killing me, though, but we got a little more gold out of it, so it was better. But you can just see, like, it's just easy to get all those things off when you gank like that. And we committed really hard to that gank. We didn't really have to, but we did. So that was part of it. Now here we have to keep an eye on the backline. Diana is back there. We're going to focus her down. She's the priority right now to get out of the way. Then Malphite comes in probably a bit too late, so he's going to get picked off. I'm going to go chase down Tristana. She did pick up a kill on Blitzcrank. He probably could have stopped chasing. We're going to just charge for a couple little pokes with the Q and kill off Tristana. So like I was saying, so those pros, really good, easy early ganks, really simple. Everything is there's no skill shots involved. This is simple. You just get on top of them and you wreck them. You go Havoc style. You just go hard. So that's the great thing about Xin Zhao. Pretty good clear once he gets past. Actually, he's just got good clear now because they nerfed the jungle. So he clears pretty easily. Like I said, super easy ganks, effective armor shred all the time. So he's just really good early game. make sure you use that to your advantage. Now, the only cons to him are, as much as he's got this gap closer, now, the con is he has no escape, really. Granted, he can use his ultimate to knock people off of him and kind of help get them away from him, but necessarily can't really jump or run super fast out of the way. Now, you can use your charge to get to minions if they're on the far side of where they are. That can help you get away. Here, we're going to jump in. We're going to separate the team. We're just going to murder Sona. Well, Lucian murders Sona, but, you know, separate Sona, get rid of that, no ultimate threat there, and pick up a kill on Hecarim. Lucian picks up another kill on Diana. I'm going to run forward and go for the no mana Tristana and just burn through her quick and pick up a kill on her. So you can kind of murder through people. It's fun. A lot of full damage Xin Zhao's, you'll see him occasionally, and you're like, I can't do anything against them. And yes, that's true. Full damage Xin Zhao is just very, very scary, but it only works in a solo lane situation. When they get into team fights, the other con about Xin Zhao is he's very, very disruptible with crowd control. So if you have a heavy crowd control team, if you can't get in there, he can't get the 3-talent strike off, or he can't sweep in time before he dies. He struggles with that as well. So be careful about that when you go into a situation. So you want the element of surprise, kind of like that last fight when we jumped in and we immediately swept them all away. That's going to be a very good thing to do to get them off of you. Now for this game, we prioritized magic resist because of their team. So instead of building our Randuin's Omen right away, which is the next item we're building towards, we actually built our Spirit Visage. Really good actually on him. Banshee's also very good if you want to block that spell. If you are charging in, just depends. Like I said, if you're careful about that crowd control. But Spirit Visage is going to help with all the healing from the lifesteal that you have on the Blade of the Ruined King. And also you're going to be getting more lifesteal from the passive on your Battle Cry. So, kind of a double whammy there. Helps him heal up pretty big. Not as big as AP Xin Zhao, but that is ridiculously not amazing, to be completely honest. So, at least in my opinion. So, I don't find it that fun. So, I've picked up the Spirit Visage, and then obviously we're going for that Randuin's Omen. For a finishing off item, I think you have multiple choices here. Obviously, the Guardian Angel is kind of just the generic. Another super fun 2 to try are the Trinity Force. He does a good job with the Trinity Force. Even an Infinity Edge will make him start to just absolutely destroy people. Or if you just need any kind of more resist depending on the enemy team and you've really translated into a beefier role, because that's what you want to do as the game goes on. You want to be able to get to that back line and sweep the team, separate them apart. You want to get in there and use that crowd control because it's a really, really good one. And be sure to utilize it. Now, one other thing to note about his ultimate and his Crescent Sweep. Don't team him up on a team on your side with people like like a Sona or Malphite, because if you go in and you sweep and then they go to ult and they miss everybody because you've just scattered them, that's not going to make your teammate too happy. So be careful about that. So make sure you think about your team comp a little bit because he can kind of throw off a few things just a little bit. So, but yeah, that's going to be a build for Xin Zhao. Really fun to play, little underutilized. Very strong early ganks is the main thing to take away from Xin Zhao. It can be utilized to snowball early matches, and if you're playing with a team composition where your lanes need to have good early games, he's a great champion for that exactly. So if you have any questions, put them down below in the comments, and everything else is in the description if you want to look it over. And other than that, I'll just see all of you guys in the next build video.